Welcome to Alaskan Freedom.
This week we're going to try to hook up the stove. Eleinne has been cooking off the camp stove now for almost a month, and it's time to get our regular stove converted over to propane. Get all these lines put in and get cooking.
Yes.
Yeah. We have made multiple trips to the hardware store to make sure we have all the right pieces, and we finally have them.
Finally.
This is going to be outside, and this hooks up to 2 tanks. These right here just screw into portable tanks. You can use whatever size tank you have. And then the line comes in, the gas comes into this, or I'm sorry, comes into these, and then out of here and into the house. And this can be set to be on one tank, the other tank, or if you put it in the middle, it goes to both tanks. But the cool thing is, when it's set on one tank, when that tank runs out and runs empty, it automatically switches to the other tank.
Oh, it
And
switches?
yeah, this goes from clear to red. So,
Clear to red.
so we just kind of we'll watch it every now and then, and when we see this has turned red, then we know it switched and the other tank is empty, so then we'll just go fill the one tank. And then next time it switches, we'll unhook the other tank.
We will be using our small tanks.
We have 20 gallon or 20 pound tanks. We'll start out using those, yes, and then probably go to bigger ones once we realize how much gas this is running. Eventually this will also run the backup propane heater and our water heater, which right now is run off propane, but those things both are still running off their own tanks, so eventually they'll all be tied into the system. We're doing 3/4 under the house and then stubbing up to the appliances at 1/2 inch. Then the one-way valve.
One way.
So this is a valve that has a small gasket in it, so gas can only flow one direction.
You see?
So I don't know if you can see, there's a little rubber gasket in there. And that way, if there's an explosion in the appliance or something, or a gas line starts on fire, it stops it from going down the pipes and into other appliances and tanks and stuff. And we have a pressure gauge to, we'll let it sit overnight and make sure that this thing holds pressure. So we're going to use pipe dope for the seal, or for the seams.
Pipe what?
It's pipe dope.
Pipe dope?
Yep. So it's specifically made for gas lines. That kind is. Open that and stir that really well.
How do you want me to stir this?
There's a thing in it.
Oh.
So brushes included. Sorry. Put like a coating around one side of that.
Oh, it's stinky. Where? Both?
Just one side.
Just one side?
Yep. So
Doesn't
just
matter
go
which
around
one?
the outside. Yep. Just like that.
Oh, it's so mini. Or too much. It's so thick.
Just like that. Yep. Okay, so take that and screw that one into there. Okay, so now
Why it doesn't go through?
take this,
How do you?
put that, and turn that on this. I'm going to hold this part, just slip it on there hard,
Then?
and then turn it.
Oh.
Okay, that should be good.
Teflon again?
Yeah,
Or
right there.
Teflon, whatever.
The pipe dope.
Pipe dope.
Dope it up. And I'll screw this one on there.
Which one? This?
Nope.
This?
Yep.
It's different too? How many do you
Take
have?
that. So the reason this is different, because you're actually grabbing what is like a nut, like this. It's got the flat edges instead of a pipe. The ones you were using, that's called a pipe wrench, it specifically grabs onto a pipe.
This?
That one, yep. Okay, and make it that size. You got to turn that thing there. Okay, let's do this. You can dope up that side.
It's like stuck in there.
It's okay, I'll get that.
Once we get the pipe assembled, then we filled it with air pressure to check for leaks.
After letting the pipe sit and making sure that it held air pressure, I realized that I put the one-way valve and the turnoff valve on the top of this coming out. First of all, I put them on backwards, but they shouldn't have been on at all because the pipe won't fit through the hole in the floor with those valves on. So I had to take those off. I have a 1-inch drill bit that'll just barely leave enough room for that pipe to come up through the floor. I went outside to put the pipe in up through the floor.
And I put a coupling on to hold the pipe in place. Okay. Looks good.
Good.
Yeah.
Then I got inside and I was able to take that coupling off and replace the new valve and the one-way valve back on it in the proper order. I did have to change the valve out because the original one I had was a flared end, and with it going on this way now, I needed it to have a female fitting. Then on the outside I put on a couple of clamps just to hold the pipe in place. And now we're going to bond the pipe. Bonding the pipe is kind of similar to grounding it, or I guess not similar, but really the same thing. So what I'm going to do here is take some sandpaper and just roughen up the surface of the pipe where I'm going to be putting on this clamp. This is a clamp specifically made just for a pipe. And then I also have one that will connect to the rod and a number 6 bare copper wire that will connect the two. It's late November and the ground is already frozen, but I was lucky enough to think about this ahead of time. And in mid to late October, I went and got an 8-foot ground rod and pounded that into the ground before it was frozen. And now a month later, that pipe's still right there, sticking about 4 inches out. So now I can just take the wire and clamp that onto the ground rod, and now everything is grounded out. The reason you're bonding or grounding this pipe is in case any electricity somehow got into these steel pipes, you want a way for it to escape so it doesn't stay in there and cause any kind of explosion or fire. Then I put on a couple more 2x4s to hold that pipe in place a little stronger and insulated the hole where the pipe came up through the house. And now that all that's done, we got to convert this natural gas stove over to propane. To do that, we just have to swap out a few fittings. And we bought the fittings direct from Maytag. They're color coded, so when you take one out, there's a little color ring on it. And all I have to do is find the matching one and put it right back on. Propane operates under higher pressure, so you can see the new ones that are made for the propane have a little bit smaller hole in them than the ones that are coming out that were for natural gas. And that's really the only difference. So we had 4 of these on the stovetop to do, and they were pretty quick and easy to swap out. On this specific oven, there's just one more of these little pieces I have to replace, the same as I did on each of the burners. Some of them have a valve that you just adjust the valve to change the pressure. And then the last thing we have to do is take off the stovetop because the regulator is under there. What we want to do is get this off. Twist these.
Oh, twist that? I should.
Okay, now I think it'll lift up, and then this part won't move and it won't break the gas lines. See, that was the thing. Yeah, see, otherwise it pulls these up and can ruin those gas lines. That's what the last guy.
Clip.
Yeah.
Clip. Ooh, gross.
Okay, there we go.
Ooh, yep.
Now I can get at this part. Alright. Let's take this out and then just flip this over, he said. Or does it screw out? Or does it clip out? Alright, so that was that way. So we just flip this over this way. The reason we're doing this is so this black part here was on the other side. Now it's up here, and the whole idea is there's a spring down in this regulator, and this is putting more tension on the spring now, and you want more tension on the regulator because the propane gas comes out at a higher pressure. Alright. Good. Alright. Now, I have to get all these lines back up through.
So now Jay is just setting up this temporarily so we can check for leaks.
There. Will you hold that for me, love? Thank you.
It's success! Yay, baby, good job!
Well, if you look at the ones you said they need to be clean, they're kind
Yeah,
of...
this one is clean. That needs to be clean. Look, there are
Yeah, I see it.
white stuff in there.
Let's try the oven and see what happens. But it needs... Oh, there it goes. Start to. It needs to be all the way down, both sides of it. Now that we have the stove converted, I wanted to build a box outside to house the propane tanks. This will just be a temporary box. For the first winter, we're going to use the 20-pound tanks we already have, and eventually we'll probably be swapping this out for some bigger tanks. But I just wanted to do something quick with some of the scrap wood I had laying around just to get the tanks out of the snow, so they were housed in some kind of box. I really didn't have plans for this. I kind of just made this up as I went along. First building a small platform for the tanks to sit on, and then just building sides around it and a lid. This piece here that's going across the back and a little piece of backing on it will be used to hold the regulator in place, so when the tanks are inside, the regulator is not moving around. Once I got the regulator put in place, I was able to drill a hole out of the back of the box and then run that line through, and then that will go up and connect to the home. Using a couple hinges, I put a lid on this that will open up, and then attached a piece to the front, leaving some large gaps for ventilation so that no gas ever gets trapped or built up inside of here.
We finished this project up just in time for Thanksgiving. And since it's just the two of us, we baked a turkey breast and dressing in the oven. We hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and thank you for joining us this week.